What is learning? Many people wonder what learning is. Is it something that brains do? Is it something that things like food, exercise and brain training can help with? Is it something you need to do to pass tests? Something that comes from studying really hard to be good at things you find boring? All of these are a little or a lot misleading. Brains are physical things, like hearts or lungs. But what brains do is very special and not like what hearts or lungs do. What human brains do is create minds, and minds are not physical things. Minds are very special things that humans have and that create ideas. Ideas are things we create for ourselves. We need to either produce ideas via a creative process, or we need to learn ideas, which also happens to be via a creative process. But although ideas run on neurons, they are not identical to neurons. They are just represented somehow, in ways we do not really at all understand, in patterns of electrical activity in neurons. But this isn't to say much at all. It's rather like saying, if you were to think that ideas were nothing but neurons, that the Mona Lisa, or some other famous painting, was made up of nothing but atoms. Now, it's true that the Mona Lisa is made up of atoms, but it's far more than this. And to analyse the Mona Lisa as a painting in terms of the atoms that make it up is to explain what's going on at the wrong level. When we speak about the Mona Lisa, we don't talk about atoms. We talk about shade and tone and that ambiguous smile. We never need to mention the atoms. And so it is with learning. Although the physical brain is necessary for learning, we don't need to confuse brain activity with the activity of the mind. We don't need to confuse physical atoms with what's really going on. So to explain learning, we need to get beyond the brain and into the mind. So learning is not really a physical thing, like pumping blood or breathing air. Learning is an abstract process of creating and criticising guesses about the world around us. That's right. What our minds do is guess what is correct, or what might work, and then we, as our minds, criticise that guess. This is all that learning ever is. It is, in short, guess and check, all the time. When we learn something new, we are creating in our own minds that idea for the first time. If the idea is one that works, or that we guess is true, we keep it. How do we know that it works, or that it is true? We criticise it. We hold it up to the light, so to speak, and take more or less a careful look, depending upon the circumstances. And if it survives every criticism we have at the time, then we accept it. Always conditionally, of course, but accept it we do. And when we accept it, we say, we know it. Now, sometimes we take extra care to be critical of new ideas, and even old ones. This is what critical thinking is about. It's all about checking to see if there are problems with ideas. And so good learning requires extra good critical thinking. It requires us to be critical in the true sense of the word, to bring criticism to bear even against our most cherished assumptions. The better we become at this, the faster we can learn, because we discard the ideas that don't work, those that are false and not allowing us to make progress, and replace them with thoughts that work and that are true. So learning is about creating knowledge in your own mind. It requires a person to attempt an answer, or a project, or some other activity, like playing the piano, or doing gymnastics, or solving a chemical equation, and testing that idea in the real world. Testing is another word for criticising. If an idea fails the test, that's a criticism. If it makes it through, we retain it, for now at least. Now, in all of this, error is necessarily part of the process. We simply have to make mistakes when we are learning. We have to find out where we have gone wrong. And we have to go wrong because we're fallible human beings. This means we can't possibly get things consistently correct all of the time. So that's what learning is. Learning is creating knowledge in your mind by a process of creativity or guessing and criticism. Both parts of the learning process are absolutely crucial. And the better we can get at both parts, being critical and being creative, the faster we can learn and the deeper our understanding can become. So we should keep in mind a deep epistemological truth. Learning is supported on two grand pillars. One is creativity, and the other is critical thinking. To maximize learning, we need to maximize both. And how to do that? Well, that's a topic for another time.